Hello, my name is Kit Cabela. I'm one of the co-founders of Veracity and Defiance, and we are here on location at 5400 North St. Louis Avenue here in Chicago, Illinois. This is close by Northeastern Illinois University, university in which I graduated from. And I'm joined here today with the two independent candidates who have been denied by the public media site WTTW from being on the debate stage for office of comptroller. Please, Green Party candidate, can you please introduce yourself to our viewers and subscribers?
Tim Curtin, Green Party candidate for comptroller.
Okay. And for the Libertarian side?
Claire Ball.
Claire Ball. All right, Tim, Claire, thank you for joining us. Now, what exactly caused both of you to be denied on the debate stage? We'll start with the Libertarian candidate. What did you receive from WTTW Chicago?
A whole lot of nothing. The problem is that we are third party, and third party in general in regular media, and as is the case here, they do not reach out to us. They do not respond to our inquiries when we present them with opportunities, when we talk to them about it, and this is just one of the biggest examples of that right here at WTTW.
All right. And for you, sir, what exactly happened to your campaign in regards to WTTW denying the Green Party for being on the debate stage?
Well, I had emailed Ms. Mary Field, who is the executive producer of Chicago Tonight, numerous times. And what I kept getting back is proof you're a viable candidate. And our response simply is, between these two independent parties, over 100,000 voters in the state of Illinois signed within less than 90 days to allow us to be on the ballot. So if that's not a viable candidacy, I don't know what is. What's more interesting is WTTW is actually in violation of the Federal Communications Commission. The FCC requires equal access, equal time for all candidates that are on the ballot. What's happening here is the station has decided to turn its back on FCC, and they have decided to go with the two corporate candidates. Neither of us take corporate money. We raise our own money, so they've decided to go with the big boys, and it seems to us, as a Green Party, they have decided to take the public out of public television.
All right. And in regards to corporate media, such as the mainstream channels, what has been your respective parties' individual responses, and what did you get from them in regards to being interviewed by their fellow news reporters, or what exactly happened to you guys when you reached out to them?
Well, I can say that in regards, we've gotten some press this election cycle, both Tim and myself. We've gotten a few nods, but if you were to read the printed paper or online publications, most often you'd see either a small nod just mentioning that there are other candidates, or in some regards no mention of other candidates beyond the Republican and Democrat choice at all. And actually, I'd like to go back to what you were saying about viability of candidacy, because we were told that same thing, that are we running a viable campaign? Mm-hmm. To which I responded with the 21 months worth of activity that I've been running for my campaign. We asked them for stated criteria on, okay, what do you determine to be a viable campaign? And they will not give us whatever their criteria is, because I think it's probably, something more green than what the Green Party or the Libertarian Party could offer.
And you, sir, how has corporate media treated the Green Party campaign, specifically in your campaign?
More with Claire. Ironically, probably the most conservative paper in town, the Chicago Tribune, is the only one that aired both of us about a month and a half ago. They put a debate between all four of us online. Then they took it off, and with protest they put it back on. The Sun-Times had us all for a similar debate, wouldn't let Claire or I speak, and when you tried to find us online, we didn't exist. And in the newspaper, there's a picture of both of us just looking at the other candidates. So it's ironic, though. I mean, I spoke in the Berwyn Town Hall. Both of Claire and I attended last week a candidates forum in the 10th Ward of Chicago. So when you get away from the public media, working people are really interested in what we have to say. The problem is corporate industry is not interested in what we have to say because we're talking about a different agenda. We're talking about opening up the democratic process, especially in the state of Illinois, where it's all pay for play.
All right. Now, you mentioned, both of you, that corporate media as well as WTTW, which is a public media outlet, have both said to your respective campaigns that neither of you are viable candidates. Now, when we hear that word viable, one word comes to mind. What's hindering you guys here in the state of Illinois or in the city of Chicago, for, especially running for comptroller? What are the state and city or county laws stopping you guys? We'll start with the Libertarian candidate.
The biggest thing stopping us are the ballot access laws that any third party has to go through. It determines outrageously high
membership.
Woo, sorry. If you're an established party, if you are Republican or Democrat, you only need to collect 5,000 signatures in order to appear on the ballot.
Right.
Any third party, so Green, myself, Libertarian, Independents, anyone else, 25,000 signatures, 5 times more. And there's no stated reason for it. And this goes from the top all the way down. If you want to run at a local level,
Right.
the signature requirements are by far much greater than they are for the established parties. The only reasoning behind this is to keep competition out, because we offer people choices
Right.
that are against that are against the current power structure in our government, and they don't like that. They don't like competition.
All right, and specifically for the Libertarian candidate, what was, or for your campaign, the Libertarian campaign, what was halting you? Like, were there any offices within the state of Illinois or city of Chicago holding back your campaign?
Anything in particular?
Perhaps maybe denying you funds or airtime, or even denying you being put on the ballot. Were there any offices in particular that were holding your campaign back?
Nothing in particular. I would say, as Tim had mentioned, we did receive a little bit of attention from the Chicago Tribune and from the Sun-Times, which is unusual. Normally, we don't receive any type of much of anything from them. Other than them, it's been kind of a blanket. Excuse me. It's been a blanket refusal to acknowledge that there are third parties out there.
Right.
And when we're talking to everyday people, a lot of them are surprised that they have other options besides Republican and Democrat. So I can't point to any specific entity, but I can say that I've seen it during this whole election process. I've seen it firsthand that, wow, they just blanket refusal to acknowledge a third-party candidate, and it's terrible.
All right. And you, sir, what specifically for the Green Party campaign for comptroller, what specifically held back your campaign, especially here in the state of Illinois, denying you being like a viable candidate? What offices and what have you particularly had to deal with?
Well, same kind of thing. For a small independent party, it takes a great deal of resources. In 85 days, we collected 55,000 signatures from the public, and they just answered the simple question, are you satisfied with the way Springfield is run? It didn't matter whether they were an independent, Republican, or Democrat. People signed. But then when you get on the ballot, it's a catch-22. You're denied access. When you're denied access, people don't know about you, and then stations like WTTW turn around and say you're not viable. Which comes first, the viability or the access to the public to become viable? So as an independent candidate for the same office that Claire is running, we both suffer from, it's like a catch-22. What we are really running for as a Green Party is we really want to see grassroots democracy break out in our state. The two major candidates, it's pay for play. They've done absolutely nothing to solve the financial crisis. And that really is what the comptroller's office is to review the budget, make suggestions, figure out how we get the ship of state back going on. I don't know how many times Claire and I have sat there and watched Leslie Munger, the Republican, and Susana Mendoza, the Democrat, just throw mud at each other and haven't talked about the issues.
Say hi to your competition.
Hi, how are you?
I just want to say hi.
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you too. I want to introduce you to my husband, David, since I met yours.
I haven't seen you
Good
since
to see
the
you
10th.
too. Good to see you, man.
Hello, my name is Kit Cabela, co-founder of Veracity. Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Who are you and what political party are you affiliated with?
I am Chicago City Clerk Susana Mendoza and the Democratic nominee for Illinois Comptroller.
Just your thoughts. Do you think it's fair that the two independent candidates are being denied a chance to be on the debate stage here on a public network?
No, I would have loved for them to be a part of the debates. They've been a part of some of the other debates, and I've enjoyed meeting them. So it's not my call. I was hoping they'd be a part of it, but they're not.
Well, you're welcome to join us out here, Susanna.
Thank you. I want to give her a clear platform without me being there to...
Do you feel
invite 'em all out.
do you feel that it's your social responsibility as someone running in a democratic nation to actually allow and actually speak up to actually have them here on the debate stage now?
Well, what I can tell you is that I'm out here where I don't think you'll find my opponent out here. I came to say hello and to wish these guys well, and I've been, nothing but, I think, friendly as they've been to me during this whole entire process, and that's what democracy is all about. But I really do have to go back in because they're waiting for me. I really just did want to come over and say hello and introduce you to my David, and to wish you guys luck. And
All right,
see you
well,
soon.
you're welcome to come out and join us on this street. This is where democracy is breaking out.
All right, so that was an interesting interruption. So let me ask you two this, and this is a question that I have asked some of my friends and other fellow progressives and other fellow independents. There seems to be a growing anger against the two establishment parties, and specifically now during this election, most notably the presidential election, there's Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton for the office of presidency, and Americans are just seeming to be holding their nose. I want to get your thoughts on the growth of potential third-party candidates. Is this now the time for third-party candidates, be it Libertarian, Green Party, or other, to actually be on a debate stage for no matter what office, be it county, city, state, or federal level? So what do you think the future is right now for potential third parties to be on the debate stage? Will it grow?
Oh, absolutely. I think that it will definitely grow. People are frustrated. They're only getting more frustrated because the more that the two sides of this two-party coin give them candidates that do not follow their values, that don't represent them, the more they're seeing it. I know I'm an accountant, so I'm all about transparency. And the whole political process has become so transparent that everyone is disgusted by it. They can see that the third parties are getting ignored. They can see that that both sides are not working in their best interest. They're working in their party's best interest. And I think it's going to continue to grow. Maybe we won't see any landslide growth from this election, but I think we're going to see strides. We're going to see more and more doors open as long as people keep going out there and speaking their mind and just demanding more candidates, qualified candidates, demanding that more parties, more people that represent them be represented.
Okay. And your thoughts on the potential future of third parties becoming more of a political influence in our country?
Well, it's interesting. All the polls have said that the American people are thoroughly disgusted with the two corporate candidates for president. They're also disgusted with most of the candidates running in Illinois. And the reason is simple. People have been left out of the process, totally left out of the process. Independent candidates are fighting voter apathy. We're the only ones who are working to reestablish democracy in this state, Claire and I. Everybody else it's just a job. They go from one job to another, from one paid position to another. The Democrats have $1.5 to $2 million to throw in the campaign for comptroller, and the Republicans have $6 to $8 million. And the chances of democracy breaking out, they're not going door to door. I am. I was in Austin earlier in the week. Going door to door, it's amazing how many people are desperate for a better life as working people. And what you're getting is voter apathy. And the way I look at it, it's not apathy, it's learned behavior. Sometimes you'll pick Tweedle Democrat, and the next time you'll pick Tweedle Republican. And you end up getting exactly the same thing from the state of Illinois. They don't balance the budget. They're cutting public education money. Social services are in a shambles. And neither of them, if you were in there from 7 to 8, you would hear them talking about, no, you're controlled by Bruce Rauner, no, you're controlled by Michael Madigan. That is all they ever say. So independent candidacy and independent parties are going to continue to grow because we are fighting for democracy. And that's what people desperately need.
All right. Now, you mentioned that they're just going to be throwing mud at each other. They're going to not really discuss policy. So I'm going to give each of you time to discuss what your policies are and plans for comptroller. Should you been on the debate stage, at least explain to our viewers and subscribers what your policies are and what you would do in the office of being comptroller. We'll start with the Libertarian candidate.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I am, as I said, I'm an accountant. I've got a bachelor's and master's degree in accounting and finance, and I've got over 10 years experience in the field, and I just passed my CPA. This office, it's an accounting job. It's financial reporting and it's payment authorization. We've never, in the 197-year history of Illinois, we've never had an accountant in this role, and you wouldn't see that in the private sector. You wouldn't see Google hiring a lawyer to balance their books, and we shouldn't demand anyone other than an accountant balancing our state books. That's why I'm running, is to bring some actual accountability and some transparency to the role, coming from a financial and accounting mindset instead of a political one.
And what has made you concerned, specifically for this office? Like, why do you want to get involved to be comptroller?
If you look at the financial health of the state, we are chronically late with getting our financial reports out. There is no transparency into the payment process. There is no transparency into you can't tie back payments that have gone out the door against budgets, which should be basic. There's this office has been used as a political reward and like a political stepping stone. The actual financial aspect of running the state has been cast aside, and that needs to stop. That's what I want to change. I want to bring some actual accounting rules back into place and bring the level of detail that's available to the people down to actually so that everyone can understand where every dollar is going. Because when you understand where every dollar is going, you can actually then call out your elected officials for what they may or may not be doing. It's basic fundamental accounting principles, and they're lacking in our state, and that's why I'm running. That needs to change.
All right, and let's start with Tim, who's a Green Party candidate for comptroller. What are your policies, and what would you plan to do if you were comptroller for that office?
Well, let's wait until the truck goes by.
Precisely. Sorry.
All right, that's all right.
They are shooting a movie at the end of the block right there.
My top priority would be using the bully pulpit, because as a state office holder, you would have access to the public. What we desperately need to do is to be honest with the taxpayers. The other two parties really don't talk about the fact taxes were cut in January of 2015. States taking in $4.8 billion a year less. There's been no offset. The budget deficit is over $10 billion. That doesn't even include the pension. We desperately need to raise funds. The only way to do that, as far as we're concerned, is to go after people who are not paying their share. We're supporting House Bill 106. It's called the Financial Transactions Tax. It would raise $13 billion a year from electronic traders at the Chicago Board of Trade and the Mercantile Exchange, the options people. It would only tax them $1 to $2 per an average of $200,000 trade. Why don't they pay their fair share, and we could give the taxpayers a break? This would raise $13 billion a year. We could balance the budget. We would get the credit of the state of Illinois back, so we'd have to borrow less money. We could fully fund public education. We could restore the cuts in social services. And if I'm elected, I am going to take the issue of who pays what and who doesn't pay what statewide. We'll have public hearings 4 times a year in Chicago and downstate. You won't have to look at the books on air. We'll bring them. The public will be able to ask questions. To my way of thinking, that is the only way for democracy to break out in this state.
All right, now let me ask you guys this final question. What are your final thoughts in regards to this protest and WTTW, and where can our viewers and subscribers find your respective campaigns?
I was very, very happy to see so many people come out, and I'm hoping that we can spread the word, make sure everybody's aware of what WTTW is doing and how they are excluding candidates, viable candidates. So I'm excited about what we're doing here tonight. If anyone would like to find out more, my campaign is at claireballforillinois.com, and I'm also on Facebook and Twitter with the handle claireballforillinois as well. And thank you very much.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. And you, sir?
Well, I think it was interesting that, and I don't know if she was feeling guilty, but I thought it was interesting that Susana Mendoza came out and at least acknowledged the fact that the other 2 parties exist. I think that's an indication that perhaps she's not even comfortable with the format. I don't know that to be the case. I invited her to come join us, and she ran right back in. We are looking at filing a complaint with the federal FCC because of the violation. You can find more about my campaign at curtain4comptroller.com. And we would also like to thank our supporters and all people, whether they're libertarian or green. All of us are fighting to restore democracy in our state, and we appreciate the opportunity on talking to you today.
All right, thank you. And just as soon as this truck passes, my final words. This is Kit Cabello, co-founder of Veracity and Defiance, signing out. Please follow us on our social links. We'll be posting up all our videos there. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Peace.